Hello, hello. Good afternoon. Welcome to another ES Futures trading stream. Today is Friday. It's May 9. It is 12:57 p.m. Eastern Time in the US. I wanted to do an update in the last day of this day or this week. After all after most of earnings, or at least big tech earnings have gotten out of the way, FOMC is over. There is only one that remains, the NVIDIA, that is going to report at the end of May. Very close, a couple of weeks before the current contract starts to unwind or to roll over towards September. And what we have here is a range. Right? It's a ranging market. If you have not been following the past days, or you have not been in the market the past day, this day would have been extremely hard. Right? This is one of the days that is better. You may have an idea of what's going on, but after watching some of the periods develop, it is one of those days that is better to stay out and to be in the sidelines and watch than be actually trading. There was only one opportunity today, and that's this one here. Right? But getting to this one is not that easy. Right? Getting or making the decision to buy or to sell a rally needs to come from you need to have some market understanding to get to this decision here, right? And making the decision to sell a rally came when the market was kind of like down here in this area here. A lot of things happening today. Right? As usual, the first thing to do in order to have the right, to earn the right to trade, is to do your homework, right? When you do homework, you will see that something kind of like pops up for today. Today is different than the other days. You will see why. We have this very important, or I consider very important reference here. Still, I had this one from, I don't remember, I guess it was last week when we put this reference up here, and this represents the high of previous month. It is kind of different. This is Thinkorswim. I don't know why Thinkorswim has April high. Oh, okay, I just know. My charts here, these ones, don't include the overnight. Okay? Notice this high here. I was wondering, this is something that I was sticking in mind, and I got a reason why I have this high market here, right? This 4-2, April 2nd, at 57.74. When the market did this high in April, somewhere around this high, somewhere a little bit higher than this, close to this low actually, somewhere in between, right? The market was having this big break here, right? This was kind of like getting close to the go no-go level here, and before actually breaking all the way down to last year's high. My bad. Previous, not last year, not 2024, but 2023 here, right? And at the time, if you remember, I have decided to use the overnight as daily or as regular trading hours because it was having a really high volume. In this case, it has 800,000, which is actually kind of a little bit lower because there was 1 million, 1.2 million, if I remember correctly. And that's why that's the difference between, this is the TOS April high. This is TOS April high. Meaning I TOS, think of swim, right? Think of swim over here. But this is market profiles. And this was an important reference. And this is what I am watching for this week, maybe even next week as well. And notice how well the market opened. We are still above the opening on May. This market is trying to get to this high. That's the weekly and the monthly. Now the weekly, in the weekly we have an upside trend, right? With the market getting back inside this 3-day range here. That's why I have highlighted this square here. The high coincides with 20% rally from the lows, which we also talk about. This is huge, right? 20% rally is huge, right? It took 1, 2, 3, 4 months for the market to have a 20% advance, and if you compare to last year, 20% advance it took kind of like a 6 months, right? Like 7, 8 months, something like that. This is not something small. So it's something to consider. This is huge, right? The market very well may have a high for the year. This potentially can be a high. I'm not saying that's going to be the high, but potentially can be a high for the year. And maybe go to the daily. This becomes even interesting. In the daily, we start to notice, right, this area here, right? When the market stops here, is bought from here, bought, sold, and seems like it's kind of like an area the market is rejecting this area, right? It goes to the upside, to the downside. Okay, set this aside, right? But the most important thing is the market looking below this 4-day range. Looking below, there's no acceptance. Is bought from the 15, very questionable. Twice has been bought from the 15. And then after that, immediately, we have a check of the opposite side of that range. It looks above and fails against this rejection. There's no acceptance above, no acceptance below. The market comes back inside range, huge volume. Notice what volume we have yesterday. And there's just not acceptance here. The market closes right where it opens. But doing this thing, the potential destination now is the opposite side of this range, right? The 5,600. And then notice is another thing. If you have been observing the market it is clearly, okay, targeting these round numbers, 57, 56, 55, 54, or whatever. It's moving from round to round to round. I hope you have noticed that, right? Now, the weakness that we have observed by doing my homework yesterday, market being bought twice, right? Twice from the 50s and bought twice from this trend line. Now this is a range actually, and this is a range that I was using since I started to use kind of like since these days back. I'm just extended this. Okay, we were talking about how this center of this range kind of no man a dead no man land here. And the market potential, if the market comes back down to here, this trend can be used as a resistance now. Right now it's being used as a support. It's not working. The next thing we know, traders will start to use this, or may start to use this as a resistance now. And the potential destination, if this is corrected, right? We talk about how the potential destination is the opposite side of the range. And, okay, again, we have the 50 here. Right? We have the 50 here. Three things that are the signals, the weakness on this market. Let me say this again, right? I guess if I do a screenshot, maybe we can see this. This can stick in your mind, all right? Check the height. Higher volume here. Higher volume, right? Higher volume. But the market closes where it open, right? Which targets this low here. And that's why I have in my charts, that is the reason I have in my charts, I have this reference here, lower channel edge, right? Which happens to be, coincides with overnight POC. Now, the overnight POC gains relevance now, not just because it's POC, because there is something else there, right? And this is when, if you don't do your homework, when you see the market going back and forth, sometimes go back and forth from POC, and other times just don't pay attention to this. This just drives you crazy, right? This gives you some context to what's going on. What are the odds, right? If the odds favor, or if the odds are in your favor or are not. This is more relevant now, right? This is more relevant just because is this trend line here. That's why I have a market there. Potentially buying, some buying may happen here around this mark here. Why? Just because, right? Because traders saw that happening before. It happened here, it happened once here, it happened here as well. There was a lot of activity here, right? But this failed, and now it was about once here, two here, 1, 2 from the 50s. You got one there. It was about one here. No relevance here, right? Let me remove these things, okay? Okay. You go, look at what is what here. What happened here? What happened here? What happened here? What happened here? Okay? What happened here? And what was happening here? Potentially happening here as well today. All of this just to have this one here, what we have here. Now, from yesterday, you have Thursday yesterday. Before that, we have FOMC. There was a lot of volatility there. I hope you have taken advantage of that day, or Wednesday. Really, there was something here, right? When the market was here, there was no way, all right, no way to do anything here to the downside here in this market, right? Because of these highs here, BCH highs here. The short here was very, very dangerous, okay? Very, very dangerous. But also the risk was high, short. It doesn't mean I had to go long. I didn't know this was going to happen, but as soon as you got something there, there was some news there that, again, trading news that I think that's when this news of, the big deal with Britain, right? but Great Britain came out and boom, the market just got crazy. But that is a catalytic, right? That was a catalytic the market needed to take these highs out. Right? What would have happened if that didn't happen? Probably, maybe the market closed down here or down here or up here. Have no idea on that. But when something happened, that's when you have an opportunity there. Got to be aware. And the next thing after that, Friday, right? What do you think traders what do you think traders have in their mind after watching Wednesday closing? What you have seen Wednesday, this was short covering, right? My inventory getting short here mechanically, which is an indication is in weak hands, short covering happening, and the next thing we know, we have a big rally again. All of this volatility that we have, that all this happened during the press conference that we have in the White House. And okay, there's this big deal, okay, blah, 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 and blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. And the market just was trading on hopes here. And when you put this in context, right? If you would have been trading price here only, probably you would have been whipsaw. More likely would have been whipsaw, because you would have not had the perspective or the context of this range here. Market taking this range with April high in mind. Well, remember, with April high in mind, with this highly watched reference here. Right? With that in mind, yeah, and the rejection, right? The rejection when this is not accepted, immediately after that, when there's no upside continuation, what we have is liquidation. Now, let's go back again. What is in the mind of traders? What the shorts, if you were shorting Wednesday, which is likely traders were doing, right? And we're just squeezed here with this gigantic short squeeze. This happened really fast. What do you think they will think about this? Movement, right? It would have been very hard to get in, to jump in, to take this short. It's really, really hard to do that with having the context from the previous day. But trading is about change, right? Trading is also, knowing how to separate or understanding, right, that what happened in the previous trade on the previous day has nothing to do with what's happening now. Right? If I got a bad day, my trade didn't work, my last trade didn't work, or this is even more dangerous if my trade was successful, if my trade was good. This can create a bias here. I am right. I have dominated the market. I know now what to do. Right? I got this. That's when you start to have overconfidence, and that also kills. It can be even more dangerous. Now, how do you take advantage of this? And there was nothing else yesterday. Really, nothing else yesterday. And the main thing that happened yesterday is these distributions being closed. And let's take and the next thing is this, right? Let's see where is my homework. Let me check my homework. Okay, let me call my homework. Let me call back my homework. Here it is. This low here. No, I don't have it. This low here. This was an unfinished action. You will see a lot of volume here, lots of volume here. This low, right? lots of volume. And next thing, and this is important to put today's market in context, this was an unfinished action here, okay? Because volume was really high. I think pretty much all of this belongs to this one here, all right? Volume was very high, and the overnight has this range here. I don't know what happened here. I have no idea. When I come to the trade index, this was already here. And the market was doing this, right? We have non-excess here, non-excess here. I didn't pay attention to this. But this was so unique here, and that's why I highlighted that in my profiles. You got this high here, and these marks here are my marks from that range there. That adds to the very prominent overnight POC, which is also the lower edge of the channel, right? You have a weekly trend line. That's not that relevant, other than the 5700 and settle. And there was a lot of activity around settle in the previous days, and buying and selling from settle. And where the market opens, check it out. Where the market opens. Can you see? Where the market opens. The 5700, right there. We have an upside here, but check this out. Right? This is the next. This is very, very, very beautiful. Very beautiful. Here, what happened here? We have this shape. When we join these two profiles, we have something like this. In other words, we have taper, right? That can be seen better in window trader. You have this taper here. Right? It is purple now because we have higher volume down here, but it was red, very nice red up there. But here we go again. This is an important reference, right? And my first thing opening today was where the market opens. Where the market opens relative to this low here. And I did my homework today. I didn't make it yesterday. Now I guess I brought that in my trading journal. I don't know why it is. Right? But I was watching this closely, right? Where the market opens relative to the pullback low, right? If the market opens below the pullback, below this low, then potentially the market would have targeted this, and that put, right? By doing so, that puts this reference inside, right? And the low of this range as a potential or ultimate trade is the destination trade. But it doesn't open below. What actually does is it opens above, right? Very mechanical, right at the 5700, which is an indication of short-term traders or market, what session potentially being dominated by short-term traders. The next thing, it opens inside previous range, which increases the also chop and rotation. And the market there was tremendous chop. This is a market that has a lot of chop here, lots of chop here. Of course, rotation. The market has just after we have the end of the downside action. We have rotation here and then rotation back again. This is just absolutely chop fast here and very, very risky, right? The risk of being chopped out is high here, very high. Now, again, where is your reference here? High, low, or that overnight range inside that we have said. I don't know what happened there. Okay. This area or this also is the low of this 2-day range. Let's make this smaller. This is the low of this 2-day range. We have another 2-day range here. And I hope you have considered this coming into this session. Right? We have another news here. And this is, check this out. Look at this. The movement that you are watching now is this news. What the heck, man? This is just crazy. What's going on? Right? It's very, what we are watching now is that announcement, having an impact in the market. Now we have something here. No? My view actually is my bias. I have a bias. I have to say this. I have a bias to the downside. But there is tremendous chop here. There's just tremendous chop. We have no excess here. Look at what's happening here as well. No excess up here. No excess here. Value is lower. I am going to remove this. I'm just going to I'm going to just leave a standard profile there because this unfinished action has been corrected, and there was something around this thing. I hope you have watched this, and this happens during, I believe it was D period, right? Was it D? D or E, I don't remember exactly which period, but it was D or E. That there was lots of activity here. Right where the market is right now, right? Where it is right now. There was a lot of activity there. And coincided with this high of this range here as well. And I decided to follow. From that on, I decided to follow that reference. Yeah? And that's when I decided if there is any upside here, I would sell this market, but I need to find location where this place can be. That's the next thing. Can you see? I don't know how much I am talking now since the stream started, just to get to this point. And that's the process, right? This is the process, right? And they took, right, 1, 2, 3, 4, almost 2.5 hours, maybe 3 hours to come to that decision. But I just cannot do that just because, right? I need to follow the market. Is this a market that makes sense? Do I have an opportunity, right? Is this a good area? And what that can be is the closing. If the market closes this distribution, because we have clearly formed a distribution down here, right? In the same way, let me open this again. Right? In the same way how the previous day the market formed an upper distribution here, right? Closing this distribution here, if J will have closed as an out, right? For example, not that I did anything here, I didn't do anything here in this area, but that's kind of like the process, right? But can you see it is not a setup, right? That if I see a distribution, if the market closes this distribution, that's when I go long or I go short. It's not like that, right? And that's why I say trading cannot be teach. You have to learn how to trade. What I can help, right, or what can be teach is market understanding. The next thing you have to do is to understand yourself. After that, you add a strategy. Because when you start watching the market, you will get an idea what's going on. Right? Is this day, for example, worth the risk? What are the odds? Are the odds against me, or are the odds with me if I take a trade? Having this area as a potential short here is the market, right, with value developing lower, overlapping lower. Right? So that's the natural trade. The trade is to the downside. The trade is not to the upside today. The trade is to the downside. It is an inside egg. That's pretty obvious, right? It is an inside egg. Kind of like around the center, a little bit lower than the center of yesterday's range, which increases the odds of rotation and chop. So this could have worked, but if you were trading straight futures here, it was very risky. Right? Probably the odds that are being chopped out were high or stopped out because of the chop. Market just coming back, taking your stop, and then going in the direction. There's probably high probabilities. Being choppy also means a rotation in the market means that if this is close, right, we can have a huge update here, huge upside here, especially having the 5700 here and not having a significant excess in the upper side, right? Compared to this day, for example, right? You have a really nice excess. I'm talking about the excess here. We have excess here, right? But look at what the market does, right? We just have a sub up. This is short covering is what we are watching here, right? This action, all that we have put in mind, all we have talked, put this 2-day range back in play, right? 2-day range, and with that, the 6-day range here now. Right? The market has not taken out this range yet. It has taken this trend, the range, trading range out, trading below that range. I still want to see. We still don't know if there's going to be acceptance here. But there's one rejection on the breakout here. Now there's a breakout, in this case to the downside. This is the first breakout. The second breakout will be taking this low out, and the third one taking this low out. And that's a sequence of this trade. Now, there's a lot of things, right? A lot of things. I mean, who said trade was easy? Who would know trading was that hard, right? Let's come back again here. This overnight is worthless. Yesterday's low was exactly pretty much to the tick to settle. But notice this now, what's happening now. Where G comes from. Right? Where G comes from, halfback. Previous period halfback, right there. So this is probably the laggards getting in here now, trying to take this market lower. Are they going to be successful? Who knows? But this is an indication of the risk, right? We may have a spike to the downside and then a retrace. I don't know. Right? And notice where this is just curious, right? This POC is moving lower, building value around this reference here, and also this is a heavy traded area, right? 57, which is this one, No, this is not one. It's not here. That's I believe it's from. Yeah, it's from these days as well. Let me check that out. Yeah, it's from that day. Back from that day. Back from this day actually. Yeah, back from this. There's a lot from this day here. This one that I have here tossed in my daily charts is different one. This is another observation here that the market is using this area, yeah, as area to buy here. Potential pivot, call it. People, some traders call this pivot areas, pivot levels, or whatever. Right? I don't use that, but I am aware of those things. Now, I don't know how much time do we have? We still have 5 more periods before the closing. And what can happen here? Notice how it happens once the market broke below, and then we have this upside, right? This is something that may happen. This is traders remember this thing, right? Now the market is going to go higher here, it's going to come back here, and then it's going to come back back into this and making new highs, right? relative to this one. That is why I think can be the mindset of traders, right? Traders. What I believe is happening now, I think the market is setting up for Tuesday, PCI or CPI. This Tuesday, let me check. Next Tuesday, yeah, we have CPI, 8:30, GDP on Thursday, consumer sentiment on Friday. What did we have today? Oh, yeah, we don't have nothing. We have CPI, China CPI at well, I mean that's 9:30 p.m. today. Market will be closed now. I think the market is setting up for CPI Tuesday. Have this in mind. I always have this in mind, right? This market has to be hedged, getting into that number. And hedging means that any longs need to be hedged, and any shorts need to be hedged as well. Anyone who is short or who is long will need to hedge here, facing that number. These are my histograms for the current day opening. Look at how this break, when we have this, the market cannot take this. There is absolutely no volume here. Look how it's white, right? You have white here. Then volume starts to accumulate at the lower side, Again, downside, no volume. More volume keeps accumulating at the lower side here. I think the only opportunity was this one here, when the market didn't close this. And the thing here is, it's really hard, right? It's really hard to watch this market. What it is? It's really hard to watch this market coming this, doing this, and not doing anything here. Now we have opening at the 5700, rally, rejection here. I have this mark. I don't know why I have this mark here. So obviously it's not relevant. I guess, okay, it was from the previous day. I decided to call this, and that's the lower side of this distribution here. And I did that before, before B. Not kind of like, and this is to monitor the market, right? Upside continuation. There is some upside here, which was unlikely because it opened right at 5700. Upside, we see market coming back inside here, getting back or taking the go-no-go level or the 5-day range here. And this one is not good anymore. Let me remove this, erase that. It's not that relevant here, right? I'm targeting this high here, this April high, but that was made during the overnight. None of those things happened. Right? This one didn't happen. This one didn't happen. Remember what is this? This is the range from the overnight. I don't know what happened there, but it was quite obvious there. And it is really hard. It was really hard not to do anything here during this break here. And that was the market targeting this unfinished action here. Right? After the market took this low out, I just moved this back here because I consider that's not it's not relevant anymore now. Yeah, let's finish the action. Markets always overshoot, and we have a tremendous rotation here. Right? All right. I don't see anything else here. Probably there are good also this highs here are going to be taken before the session is over. This is very questionable. This is no good. Notice how the market tries to take this low. That it does is not success. They have not success here. We are 10 minutes into the next period, and traders again are selling the market, right? Very mechanical selling, as close as possible, and as close as possible to previous high here. Right? From these trades here, the only one that has lower risk is this one here. This is a market that I wouldn't short now. This got to be, the risk is just too high now. I'm not saying the market cannot break, because remember, all of this here is short covering. Short covering weakens the market. Okay? All right. I'm sorry if I cannot give you more insights here. There is nothing that I see that can be worth to mention, or any trade that is getting close, for example. But if you have any questions, please just let me know. You can post your question or comments in YouTube or in Twitch. Twitch doesn't store what Twitch does is store the streams for 5. I think it stores for 5-7 days, something like that. But YouTube, I think YouTube is permanent. Unless you erase your videos, they will stay there, kind of like forever. All right. I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day. Stay safe. Have a wonderful weekend. Hope I can see you next week. Bye-bye. Oh, look at that, right? We were just talking about this thing, right? This is very risky here. How many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 white POC. We have 4 here. POC can move higher, can move up to here, but that will be moving. The POC would, if I gets back up here, for example, it can correct this one as well. That will not be an opportunity now because the odds that the market closes these distributions are higher now, because there will be 3 if that happens. Right? That's why I say I don't see anything. I don't see anything here now, right? The risk is just too high. The risk has increased to the short side. It is tempting, right? These kind of things, if you don't have an appreciation for or a deeper market understanding, this can be very misleading, right? Probably if you were trading this market, you had a lot of chop, or probably have some whips or even here. All right, guys. Now I'm gonna say goodbye again. Have a wonderful rest of the week. Stay safe. See you next week. Bye bye.